for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening, Fade to Black, bespoke radio for the masses. How you doing? Man. What a day. In a great mood. Today's Wednesday, January 3rd. 3 days into the new year, just 362 days left, and we are live from a bunker somewhere in downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States, hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? In a great mood around here. We had just a fantastic day today. And tonight, we welcome very special guest, Jason Quitt. He's back. He's here. One of our favorite guests. We're going to continue this New Year celebration this week with Jason. He's got a lot of... A lot of stuff to talk about tonight. I'm just so looking forward to it. Love it when Jason is here. And in some ways, I don't know how much younger he is than me. He's certainly younger than me, but I just look at him as family. But I don't know if it's like he's a son or he's my younger brother. He's a first cousin, a nephew. But he's certainly part of the family here, and he's absolutely great and so smart and all of that stuff. But he's got everything else that goes on with him that is just amazing to me. And it's Egypt, and it's time travel, and it's astral body, and it's near death, and ufology, and our world, and awareness, and consciousness, all of that stuff. And then this is the other part about Jason. He's always got some amazing story to share with us. And tonight we're going to talk about that. He just broke his back. And so, you know what? Let's leave all of that for Jason. How it happened, how many places he broke it, what's going on with him now. But I'm going to say this. So when we got the word about his broken back, I turned to Rita. I swear on all that I love, I turned to Rita and I said, man, he's got some out-of-body stories now. We got to get him on the show. We got to get him talking now. So tonight's the night. Jason Quitt is here. So looking forward to it. Tomorrow night is another Fader night, Thursday night with the No More Fake News Room with John Rappaport, followed by open lines all night long. And I'm going to make this announcement tomorrow, but we're going to have a special guest in here tomorrow night, and it's going to be great, okay? A musician. And then if you've been reading Facebook and you kind of know, and Twitter, okay, but for the rest of the audience that's not doing any of that, I'm going to announce this tomorrow night. and we'll have him in here to take your phone calls. Okay, so yeah, pretty excited about that. So what I did today, and I do this from time to time, but no, I do it every day, but it's what I do with it every day. And I'm talking about listening to music. So some days I'll wake up and I've got to do Glenn Campbell. Some days I wake up and I've got to do Black Sabbath with Dio, and then I'll go Black Sabbath with Ozzy, and then I'll do Pantera, or I'll do Corrosion, or whatever. I go through those cycles. Rammstein, love Rammstein, and poor Rita, who's got to work, down the hall doing her thing, and I'm in here cranking the heavy metal music. And there's so many genres of heavy metal today. I mean, there's so many, and if you think about some of those great bands from the northern part of Europe and up there in Sweden and Norway and the things that are going on up there, I'm fully engaged into all of that. So when you go into one of those zones, you can't pull yourself out of it. You just stay with it, and that's what I did today, man. That's what I did today. So I call up Jason. I'm like, Jason, what's up, man? What's up? And when we start talking death metal. And Jason goes, look what I got. And he looks and points in the background and, his guitar collection. I'm like, really? And that is what is so brilliant about this show. Okay, now, where am I going with this? It's going here. I love the arts. I love the arts. I love artists. I love fine art. I love old, new, modern. I love music. I love all types of music. It doesn't matter if it's classical or country or rap or heavy metal or deathcore. I love all music. It doesn't matter. If it's good, there is nothing like a good salsa, right? So anyway, I love my music. And I love television, and I love movies. I do. I love the arts, and I appreciate it, right? And when I talk about those certain flavors of things that I'm into every day, I do it because I talk about it because it's my world, right? It's what I'm into. And doing that, I was hoping that ultimately I would attract an audience from this beautiful earth of ours, this beautiful green, blue planet of people just like myself that loved all music, that loved everything conspiracy, that loved everything about our alien ET brothers and ancient Egypt and Göbekli Tepe, right? And that is what we have pulled off here. And I just enjoy that. And that's the audience that we've built. And so with that, tomorrow night, we're going to have a really cool special guest in here that is just like all of us. And think about it. Yeah, I realize everybody can see and hear me. All the feeds are up. We're all good. Okay, so that's what we're going to do tomorrow night. Also, the reason why I'm in such a great mood is who posted Voivod? That's a great band. Toured with Voivod. Wow, it's pretty cool. That album right there. I think that was Nothing Face. That was the album I toured with them on. I think I've got that very CD somewhere around here autographed. Voivod. Wow, what a trip. Piggy, the guitar player, amazing. So, the other reason why I'm in such a good mood is we announced the winners of the next late night podcast star contest. All of their studios got shipped out today. How great is that? And now, so that just sets the tone. And the other stuff that I'm thankful for and why I'm in such a good mood, I'm going to get to in just a second. Jason Quitt's going to be here at the bottom of the hour. You can follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio, Facebook, YouTube. Everything is Fade to Black. Easy. Jimmy Church Radio. Simple. Follow, like, and subscribe. The Sandbox, if you want to hang out with us, it is hashtag F2B. Any questions or comments during the show, use hashtag F2BQ. Email is Jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. All right, and also the news is out that the good vibes that we put out for John Anthony West worked. Well, they're having an effect. So it is just so important for us to continue those good vibes going towards his direction in New York. Jaws, we love you. Our next event is going to be the Conscious Life Expo. It's coming up February 9th through the 12th, 2018 at the LAX Hilton. Tickets and info are over at jimmychurchradio.com. Just click on the banner for the Conscious Life Expo. It will take you straight over there for tickets and information. All right, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. All platforms, $2 a month. Click on the banners over at jimmychurchradio.com. And you can also become a Fadernaut, okay? And we shipped out a lot of Fadernaut stuff today, and everybody enjoy it. I signed all of the T-shirts today. I was in one of those kind of moods. I'm like, everybody gets it. Oh, man, it was just so cool to be able to do that. And we got all of those out today. You can even become a game changer. You can get autographed T-shirts and hats and all of that stuff, downloadable archives, and anything that you need is right there. All of our sponsors are great. They help support this show, and they will change your life, like Life Change Tea. GetTheTea.com, River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend, New Pharma, the foundation, Relax. I love the Relax, by the way. It's just amazing. Ancient Life Oils. This is their cinnamon 1,000 milligram CBD. Keep that right here on the desk. Of course, pine bark and moringa. I love the drops because I like the taste of the drops. That New Pharma drop is just, that foundation, just absolutely amazing. And, of course, New Mana Food Storage and Bearing Optics. Everything is over at jimmychurchradio.com. Let's get this show cracking, because today we need to say happy birthday to John Paul Jones. Today he is 72. Co-wrote all of Zeppelin, but or most of it. Stairway to Heaven, right? Pretty much the conversation ends at that point, doesn't it? Happy birthday, John Paul Jones. A lot of us think of him as the bass player, but he was a multi-instrumentalist and he played everything. But he was always known as the straight guy in Led Zeppelin. But rumor has it that was just an image. All of that stuff, throwing TVs out of windows and driving cars in pools, all that stuff. He was the guy driving the car. He was the guy unplugging the TV before it went out the window. Happy birthday, John Paul Jones. Our dead guy's birthday today is J.R.R. Tolkien. 1892 to 1973. Died at the age of 81. Wrote The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings trilogy, and just about single-handedly changed the lives of every generation since, including mine. On this day in history, OTD, 1990. Yep, Panama's Manuel Noriega, the dictator general, surrenders after holding up for 10 days at the Vatican Embassy in Panama City. Panama surrenders to the United States. Fader fact, Netflix, the TV show Black Mirror, derives its name from the reflection you see in a switched-off screen or monitor. Isn't that creepy? Right? I love that series. I'm waiting for season whatever now. I guess it would be season 3. Season 1 and 2 were like 6 episodes each, and they came out in like 1971. Man, quit holding up on the Black Mirror already. Okay, tonight, Jason Quitt is here. And tomorrow's another Fader night. No more fake newsroom with John Rappaport. And followed by open lines all night long. I'm going to have a very cool special guest here tomorrow night. Very, very special guest. And he's going to be on with us before he leaves the country again. So we're going to sneak him in here tomorrow night, Thursday. So get ready for that. We'll make the announcement tomorrow. And now this is what I was talking about earlier. There were things I didn't expect to see in my lifetime. One, sitting around with my friends smoking weed down in Panama, was I just didn't expect to see pot legalized. And we used to sit around and ponder that. Just, what if, when our generation gets a hold of Congress and all those, they all die off, and then us, our generation, we're going to rise up. We're going to go in and take things over, and we're going to legal. And I thought, wow, man, that seems like such a long ways away, and I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever see it happen. And I thought, and I would look around at my friends, and I know that all of you have had the same thought. You have friends, right, that smoked weed when you were 15, 16 years old, 1978, 79, and today they're the biggest goobers in the world. They don't even admit to smoking pot back then, right? They're like, cops today. Those are the ones that would screw it up for us in Congress, right? That's what I thought. The cool factor would end with some of these friends. Well, anyway, pot's legalized today. And I posted a map over on Facebook. Half of the country right now, over half of the country has legalized pot. Texas is still holding out. Indiana's still holding out. Wisconsin's still holding out. They probably smoke more pot in Texas, Indiana, and Wisconsin than the rest of the United States combined, but it's still illegal there. And but everybody's going to fall into place. That's it. Just give it a couple of years, and it's going to be recreational use all the way across the United States. And I just didn't think that would ever happen. And as of midnight, New Year's Eve here in California, it is now recreational use. I got the lowdown today. Talking to a peace officer. Oh, Rita, I didn't tell you about this. Talking to a peace officer briefly. And don't worry, I wasn't in any trouble. I was out shipping stuff, and a cop was there shipping as well, and or picking up stuff. And so I stopped and I asked him about the new pot laws. I said, so, dude, man, can I walk around? Can I drive with this in my car? What happens if I get pulled over and I've got pot in my car? You have to have it in your trunk, he says. Oh, so it ain't quite that recreational yet, but it's legal in California. You don't have to fear the reaper anymore. And the other thing that I never thought would happen in my lifetime is that aliens and UFOs would be here and recognized. Now, we've all known, season 4 of Black Mirror, season 4 is live on Netflix now. Rita, I did not know that. Man, we check Netflix every day. I didn't know that. I didn't know. Thank you for that, Deuce Guy. And I just didn't think, I didn't need it for my own disclosure and for my own knowledge and my own beliefs. I was comfortable in the things that I've seen and the evidence that I had seen. I was cool with it, but I didn't think that it would happen the way it did at the end of 2017. But it did happen. And then there was this. I didn't think that this would happen. But tonight, it's season 55 of the X-Files. And I just didn't think it would happen. When X-Files went off the air, I felt in my bones that it was premature, that there was much more to be said, that they didn't actually get to what they needed to get to. I thought that the movies, although they were okay, were falling short. I didn't dig that. And I felt that what the X-Files started off doing and the way that it ended and the way that Chris Carter could have taken things, he just didn't. And I thought that there was a conspiracy behind that. I really did. I felt that Chris was stopping for his own, for reasons, when he didn't just open this up. The whole disclosure thing and just take this thing where it could have gone to, and it didn't. And when it ended, I thought, wow, well, I didn't think it would come back. And there were all these rumors. And I thought, Duchovny's in his prime, right? I just thought there was no reason to not bring Mulder and Scully back. they could still do it. It wasn't like they were in their 80s, right? No, we could still do this. Well, last season, the first episode was nearly perfect. It was a perfect episode. And the last episode was 50% of perfect. It was seriously lacking. The end, when the credits rolled, okay. But the 4 episodes that were in between those just fizzled. It just didn't do it for me. Now, here we go again. X-Files again tonight. You know what we're going to be doing after the show. We're going to go check it out. I know that there are some of you out there that have already seen it. No spoilers, please. But we have X-Files back. Now, is this an opportunity? Now, I'm excited for the season as it plays out. We had this version disclosure on December 16th. Carter being in the middle of the mix, did he know something in advance? Did he know that this disclosure, I think that he is connected. I really do. There's too much that is involved with the X-Files that Chris Carter isn't in the know. I feel that he is, him and Spielberg. I do. It's not some crazy conspiracy thought. The production is there for us to watch, and we can ask all these questions ourselves. So, the art of Eric Stitt just said, I just watched the X-Files premiere. Chris Carter is no longer holding back, Jimmy. Okay. Now, that's all the disclosure I get tonight out of... That's all the disclosure I get out of Twitter. I don't want to send any of you Fadernauts to the corner, because I will. But what a crazy time for the X-Files to come back. We are in this weird momentum. So and for us, the X-Files is a treat. For the rest of the world out there that doesn't listen to Fade to Black or Coast to Coast or watch Ancient Aliens, they don't know, right? And they watch the X-Files and they are exposed to this. Now, let's combine a couple things. And this is where my thoughts were going today on the X-Files. Think about this for a second. We just had a massive dose of disclosure in the mainstream media that went out to people that never would have considered the UFO question. Now it's in the front page, or they've got to watch it on TV, and they're watching these interviews, and Luis Elizondo and Dave Fravor and videos and senators and secret Pentagon programs. And so they are getting this dose, right? The same audience, a grand crossover of them, are sitting down and watching the X-Files. So they're going, wait a minute, this was just on the news. That is disclosure. If you think about the way that I'm presenting this right now, the mainstream, it is just pushing out there. It is pushing out. John Kliegel just said, I agree, Jimmy. Lots of gold stuff in tonight's episode of the X-Files. Stuff that needed to be said. Yeah, I can't wait. All right. The Monster of the Week was only a great episode last year. Mulder and Scully meet the Were-Monster. Yeah, that was, but see, and again, even that episode, and we always wondered about that, right? The Were-Monster. It was okay. It was okay. They started off full UFO. The beginning, they had all the black projects. They had the black triangles. They had MJ-12. Everything was laid out and did not go anywhere. It didn't go anywhere. I thought at the end of episode 1 last season of X-Files, I thought, where is episode 2 about to go to? And I know how they alternated, right? Monsters and UFOs, supernatural UFOs, that's the way that that ran the X-Files. Okay, so I literally said to myself, okay, we've got 6 episodes. We're going to have 3, maybe 4 solid UFO episodes here. We're going to have a couple of monster episodes, and that's not what they did. No, they did episode 1, and then episode 6 was half UFO. Think about what I'm saying here. But isn't the timing strange? And it's really a good time to be around. These things I didn't expect in my lifetime. I didn't expect pot to be legalized. I didn't expect aliens and UFOs to be here. And I didn't expect this season of The X-Files. I didn't think it would ever happen. And it's all happening at the same time. I absolutely love what's going on here. These next few months are just absolutely going to be amazing. Hey, plus Black Mirror's back. So with that, Jason Quitt is here. And Jason told me a couple of things before the show tonight. And I'm just going to say it like this. He's one of the best storytellers, and one of the best narrators out there. He can paint a picture of his experiences. His recalling of Egypt. I'll never forget that night sitting here in the studio in the dark and listening to it. I went straight there. And the things that we are going to talk about tonight, I'm so excited about because nobody can narrate and paint a picture like Jason Quitt. And we're right in the middle of all of this. Everything that is going on, these exciting times for us and our community and the world. We have Jason Quitt here tonight. So I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to, when I get back after this short commercial break, Jason Quitt's going to be here live from Toronto, Canada. And I can only imagine, I think right now up in Toronto, I think it's minus 40 degrees. I think they're snowed in, right? He's got a broken back. There's nothing better than late night talk radio with a situation like that. He's got lots to talk about. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. You got to love Fade to Black. You've got your music, you've got your entertainment, and you've got your UFOs and your time travel all in one broadcast. And tonight we're going to do it all. I'll be right back.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Natural Health Solutions with Chris and Ronnie.
Hey, Ronnie, how you doing?
Great, Chris.
Now, you're the CEO of GetTheTea.com, right?
Yes, I am.
What is GetTheTea.com? I mean, is this tea you buy in a store?
Well, no, it's not. Life Change Tea is just that. Life-changing. Life Change Tea is an herbal tea that gently cleanses your body from intruders.
What do you mean by intruders?
Well, intruders are toxins, chemicals, GMOs, heavy metals, and more. They're in our food, in our water, in our air we breathe.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
And Life Change Tea will help you with removing these, as you say, intruders?
That's right, Chris.
Are there side effects with this tea?
Well, you might lose a little weight. When you clean your colon, you lose weight, you feel better, and you have more energy.
Wow. Ronnie, where can people purchase Life Change Tea?
Oh, that's easy. GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com.
Ronnie, I want to thank you for being on the show. People, don't forget, GetTheTea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show. on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Win big with KGRA this summer. Tickets and hotel accommodations to the biggest conferences, autographed books and DVDs, chances to win all-inclusive conference cruises, and private dinners with your favorite KGRA hosts. Click the contest tab at kgraradio.com for your chance to win big this summer. Your contact for the best alternative talk radio on the planet. kgraradio.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Jason Quitt is here. This segment of Fade to Black is proudly brought to you by Life Change Tea. Seriously, starting with their super strength tea, we use Life Change Tea products every day here at Fade to Black, including Coral Sea, G.I. Joy, the Pine Bark and Moringa Drops. All you have to do is use the promo code FADER, F-A-D-E-R, and you're going to get yourself free shipping on every order because you are a Fadernaut. Tonight, on our second show of 2018, continuing this amazing week on Fade to Black, our guest is Jason Quitt, and he is a graduate of the Institute of Energy Wellness and a student of Algonquin Shamanism. Jason has been training and working with many teachers and shamans and traditional healers from all around the world. He is also the author of Forbidden Knowledge, Revelations of Multidimensional Time Traveler, and the Egyptian Postures of Power, Ancient Key Gong System, and the Yosef Codes, I almost said Chronicles, Sacred Geometry Mandalas. His website is The Crystal Sun, and the links are over at jimmychurchradio.com. And I would like to welcome back our good friend, Jason Quitt. Jason, I laugh, I kid. How you doing, man?
Considering what I've been through the past month and a half, I'm doing excellent.
You know, I think you're faking it. You know, everybody I saw Jason today on video, he looks fine.
You would never know
I've been through. You know, Ricardo Montalban, you know, the Billy Crystal character on Saturday Night Live, he used to have this quote. I lived by it. It's better to look good than to feel good. Right? And that's it, man. You look great. But let's spend this first segment, if you don't mind. Tell us what happened, because when we got the news, and I think we got it fairly quickly, that you had broken your back, and I think it was in a car accident, right?
No.
Oh,
no, it wasn't in a car accident.
Okay, see, there you go. That's the internet for you. How'd you break your back?
I actually fell down a flight of stairs.
That's okay. Well, that's even worse. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, now let's back up. I'm not going to laugh. I'm not going to do this. How does one fall down a flight of stairs?
Well, I'll just tell you, at that time, leading up to the accident, I was extremely stressed. I had lots of work deadlines, and in a couple days, I was going to leave for Japan for a month. So I had to make sure everything was done here in Canada before I leave to Japan.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a lot on my mind. My mind was definitely not in my body. I was not present, and I was basically on autopilot.
Right.
And it was nighttime. It was actually the night of the new moon. Maybe that's significant, but it was the night of the new moon, and it was extremely dark outside. And I was going to bed, and I go to the kitchen, and I grab my glass of water, which I take every night to bed with me.
Right.
And I turned off all the lights because, you know, I know how to walk through my house. I thought I knew how to walk through my house.
Okay, that's where I have to stop you. You didn't fall down somebody else's stairs, which is understandable. You fell down your own flight of stairs.
Correct.
Wow, your mind was out of body. Okay, so what happened next?
So it was pitch dark, and I thought I was walking down a hallway, but my right foot went over the edge of the steps, and I tumbled down sideways all the way down to the bottom. And I was conscious the entire time. And when I hit the bottom of the stairs, I fell very badly, and it just took the wind out of me. I couldn't even speak. I couldn't even scream for help or anything. But I knew I wasn't getting up from this.
Where was your wife? She was in bed?
Monica was sleeping. She heard me fall down the stairs. It was very loud.
Right.
And she came running, and when she saw me, she screamed at me not to try to get up, which was actually the smartest thing anybody could say to someone in that position.
Sure.
So you're not supposed to move. And me being arrogant as I am, I thought, just give me a second. I'm winded. I can get up and walk away from this.
Holy crap.
She basically made me stay still, and a couple ambulances came and pumped me full of morphine, which is a very interesting experience in itself. And they took me to the hospital. They x-rayed me, and the doctor came in, looked at the x-rays, and he said, "Oh, everything's fine. Just go home and take some Tylenol."
Say what? Now, wait a minute. Whoa. Yeah. I've seen the x-rays, okay? You can tell the audience I have seen what has been done. How could they miss that? I've seen the photograph of your back, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's disturbing, but how all of that was done, and are you suing somebody? Oh, you're Canadian. You guys don't sue. Wow.
Yeah, so
how did they miss that? We'll get to you going home in a second, but how did they miss all of that?
I don't know who was the doctor at the time that looked at it, but he didn't see it, or he was too tired, and he sent me home. And luckily, there was someone else that looked at the x-ray afterwards. And I went home, and I laid in bed all day with a broken back. And I got a phone call in the morning. They wanted me to come back to the hospital and do another CT scan. And when I went back in and did the CT scan, they literally strapped me to a bed and said, "You're not allowed to move. An ambulance is coming. You need emergency surgery right away."
Yeah, you're not moving forever. Right. Yeah, exactly. So how were you dealing? What were you? Okay. Let me get a little more direct. When you were sleeping that first night at home, was your brain telling you, dude, your back is broken? You know, you have got some serious issues. Was your body communicating with you?
Yes. And because I couldn't even hold myself up, I couldn't even move in the bed. There was no position I could be in that wasn't extremely painful.
Of course.
And, luckily I have friends that are very close to me, and when they heard what happened, they came over with, you were talking about marijuana. And I knew it was very serious when I smoked for the pain, and it did absolutely nothing for me. It did nothing.
Wow.
So I knew it was very, very serious.
How long? Let's go back to the morphine for a second, if you don't mind. Yeah. So they shot you up with morphine, and that obviously is going to do its job. That's what morphine does. But it does eventually stop working. It wears off, right?
Yeah, very quickly.
Yeah. Oh, man. I can only imagine what you were going through at that point. So your body is saying something is seriously wrong here.
Seriously wrong. And when the ambulance came and took me back, they took me to a special hospital that does neurological surgery and back injury surgery. And when the doctor looked at the x-rays and he heard the story that they sent me home, he basically said that you definitely have some angels around you, because 9 out of 10 people that come back the day after are either paralyzed the rest of their life or dead.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Anything could have happened overnight. That's right. You trying to get comfortable, you sitting up, you walking, sitting, anything like that. You're talking about nerve damage that would not be reversed.
Correct. And I will post a picture on Twitter of the actual X-rays.
Oh man!
Because my T9 vertebrae was basically destroyed. It looked like a squished marshmallow, basically. And the backbone itself was cracked right across it. And they call this a 3-tier break, which means my vertebrae, T9, was completely free floating. So I could have made the wrong move and I could have severed my spinal cord because there was nothing holding it together.
No, and when you look at, okay, this is what I don't want you to freak everybody out, but if you post a picture, post the one with the hardware.
Yeah.
Okay, post that one.
I'll do that.
Because you look at that, this is what, go ahead and post that, Jason. I'll tell everybody what they're about to see. This is now permanently in Jason's back. And that kind of surgery to do, I'm assuming it's all titanium, by the way.
Yeah, it's titanium.
It's titanium. So to put this kind of titanium hardware into somebody's back, and that kind of back surgery, that is as radical of a surgery as you can just about do on the human body. Everybody knows what back surgery, and this is the real deal. And it goes back to my original question. How could they, if that's what they needed to do, how do they miss that? I mean, now I would have been outraged. You're a nice guy, so I get that. Both you and your wife are just, very even keeled, but there it is. Okay. Thank you for that. I'm going to retweet. This is just a brutal picture. This is what is in Jason's. I can't even type. Jason's back for the rest of his life. Yeah, that's a crazy picture, man. That is a crazy picture. So that is holding what together? What am I looking at here?
Okay, those are titanium screws and rods that are actually holding the spine from T7 to T11 in my back. So my thorax region, it's basically behind the ribs, starting at the bottom of the rib cage.
That's 5.
Up to about the shoulders.
That's 5. So each one of those screws is in a vertebrae?
Correct. You can actually see the vertebrae that's screwed into.
Yeah, you can see the lines between them. Oh, dude. And now does that part of your back bend now?
No.
No, I don't think so. I didn't think so. It's kind of a dumb question, unless these would be hinged. Wow,
I'm even taller now.
Dude, you're already 6'8". How tall are you now?
At least an inch taller.
Are you? Oh man, that is a crazy image. That is just a crazy image. That is just.
And, when the thing with me is like when you're not present, you open yourself up. You're on autopilot. Something else is running your ship, and before I even realized that I had fallen down the stairs, it was too late. So.
Did you hear it? Did you hear anything?
Oh, crack or break?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you did.
Let's just say that when I hit the bottom, my legs actually went over my head.
That is, wow.
It was very, it really knocked me out. I haven't been hit that hard before.
Now, if there is a good side to this, and this is what I said to you today, I mentioned it briefly at the beginning of the show, this had to, and I wasn't making light of it, but when I said to Rita when we first got the news of this, I'm picturing, good medication, right? Lots of rest. And for you, we are talking about the opportunity of some serious mind time, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Now, did you did it come naturally, or did you say, hey, you know what, now, I'm stuck, I'm in bed, now it's time for me to go and visit some places?
It's when a person goes through such a trauma, I was not expecting what happened to me after the fact. After the surgery, I couldn't move. My left arm even was completely paralyzed and numb. I had no feeling in it. It was basically dead. And that was very scary to, not have a left arm working. Thankfully, it came back after about 4 days of not having my left arm. And I'll tell you something, which is, the first thought that went through my mind when my arm was dead was, I'm never going to play guitar again.
Right.
That was my first thought. But I had a lot of visions. I had a lot of outer body things happen to me that I was not expecting at all. For one, and this was the most powerful thing, was I'm laid up in the hospital bed, and I talk about healing and preaching about shamanism and energy healing. Well, now I have to put all that stuff to the test, right? I have a body that's basically broken, and I have to use my consciousness, use my mind and my energy to heal myself, to get myself back to normal. And one night I was in an altered state of consciousness, and I was shown this coil. It was like a Tesla coil. It was a flat spiral of copper. And I've never seen anything like this type of coil before. I'll have to draw it. And I'm looking at this coil, and suddenly this field moves and touches this coil. And when the field touches the coil, suddenly the coil turns into an element, like a hot element, a metal hot element where it's like glowing red and orange. And right when that element turned on and it turned into this fire, I felt this fire awaken in my body. And it was an amazing vision, an amazing feeling. And then I could travel in my body. Like I can just go within, and I can move that fire to the places that were broken or hurt. And I could feel it working on those tissues, because it was actually, wherever I focused, it was extremely painful. And I could feel it moving things. I even felt part of my spine twisting and moving as I was putting this healing element in those areas. And, I teach Qigong and all these things, but what do you do when you can't move? You can't even lift your arm up. You're just stuck. It's basically your mind. So what I would do is I would just go into a deep meditation. And trust me, when you're in severe, severe pain, it's very easy to go into a deep meditation because your mind wants to escape that.
It has to. It has
Yes.
to. So, and you decided to not medicate.
In the hospital, I was 100% medicated.
Well, of course.
Yeah. At first, it was, you got the morphine drip button and all that.
Right.
Which we'll call it by its real name. They're really giving you heroin.
Right.
So when I got home the week after, it was cold turkey. I refused to take any medication. But, there was pain. And again, a friend came over and said, here's a gift for you. This is called Rick Simpson oil.
Okay. Now, before we move forward, Rick Simpson oil. When Jason told me about this earlier today, I laughed out loud. Did I not, Jason? I laughed out loud.
It's pretty funny to me too, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Because it's notorious. It's got a reputation. It's scientific. It's a mad scientist, cannabis, nuclear. I don't even know how to but its reputation is there. And when the second you said it, I laughed because I kind of knew what was coming next. And so for the audience, why don't you tell them what Rick Simpson, I say it and I laugh. Tell them what Rick Simpson oil is.
It's basically an extract of THC, CBD, and other, I would say, hydrocarbons that are present in the plant. and they're basically extracted, and you need about 100 grams of cannabis to extract about close to 10 grams of oil. And it comes in this little syringe. It looks like black tar, and it's so potent and so therapeutic that you just basically need a pinhead of this oil.
A pinhead is it.
Pinhead,
right?
yes.
So 2 pinheads, too much.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
I took about, I would say the equivalent of 2 grains of rice.
So you did 8 to 10 pinheads.
Too much. Because it's very hard to, get the right dosage. Because if you take too little, you don't feel anything. So it's very difficult to find that right dosage.
Oh, my Lord. There are people out there that talk about this, about trying to figure out the right dosage for Rick Simpson oil, because it is so difficult. And okay, so now you've obviously gone. You didn't do too much. You went way past the point of no return, is what you did, right?
Yeah, and the amazing thing about oil is that you never know until it's too late,
and you can't get rid of it either. That's the other thing. No. You can't get it out of it's oil.
It took about an hour and a half before I even had any signs that it was working.
Oh, man.
Okay, so it just kind of creeps up on you. And then it just smacks you in the face. And basically, I'll just share this with everybody because they should know, it was more powerful than any morphine I could get in my body. It was, I was knocked out completely for about 8 hours. I couldn't even lift my finger off the bed. I was almost glued, and it felt very, very good because it relaxed every muscle in the body. It takes away inflammation, which is the most important thing in healing. It took away the inflammation, which allows a deep healing, and I can feel it going through my body and working on all these areas. It wouldn't stay in one area. I'd feel the energy of this cannabis or whatever the energy of that is, and it would, let's say, it would spend 10, 20 minutes on my heart or my chest, and then 10, 20 minutes on my liver or kidneys, and move up my back. The energy of it actually moved to different places and offered relief.
Now, how much of that thought process was just you being high?
Well, the thing with meditation and when I'm high or under the influence with these things, I'm more being conscious of what's happening in my body. What am I feeling?
Right.
So really, I'm trying to shut my mind down and just focus on what is happening. So I was just kind of following it along as it was doing whatever process it needed to be done. And it was very enlightening to be in that state, but you're basically comatose. You can't move. I couldn't even really talk to Monica to even get me water because I was just, and she just said, "You're smiling too much. What's wrong?"
Right. Now, what happened next? As this, it's fascinating to think about the massive injuries that were done to your body. Yes. It is the muscular system, it's your skeletal system, your nervous system, the shock of the accident itself. Certainly there's some mental things going on. It's all at the same time. Your body's in shock. It's fascinating to hear you talk about this going through your body where, like little machines, you know what I mean? Fixing what needed, it was doing its job. That's a fascinating way to go about it. And with Rick Simpson oil and the dosage that you took, I don't doubt, Jason, that's exactly what was going on. But you were able to focus on that and see it happening.
Yes. And when you go through a trauma like that, like I had PTSD. Like I literally had PTSD. It was the strangest thing because you can't control it. And it sounds very silly, but a week after the accident, I would literally wake up in the morning with my heart pounding, because right before I wake up, I'm falling down the stairs again, breaking my back all over, and I feel everything. And I jump out of my skin in the morning and wake up. And it's crazy that, those memories stick within you, and then you have to process that. You have to allow those memories to be processed properly. And as you're processing it, you can feel organs in your body moving. When you start processing it, I can feel my back popping in different areas. So it's like recorrecting these memories that are locked deep within the tissue, deep within the energetic structure of your body.
Sure. I went through something, I didn't break my back, but, I went through something pretty traumatic 5-6 years ago, and I would do just that. I laid in bed and trying to get comfortable, but what was funny with that is I could feel my body in different spots, because I had the same thing that you went through, where I had a head to toe, body, trauma. And it's an amazing thing to feel your body working on itself all over the place, because that's exactly what it's doing. And you're also fighting the thought of pain, and you're afraid. I think everybody's afraid of pain. It's the truth. And your mind does not want to deal with that, and how it deals with pain is a pretty fascinating thing to go through.
Oh, yes. Like I say, it's so easy to detach yourself from your body, from your pain, especially when you're medicated. But even when you're not medicated, it's very easy when you're going through that. And I don't know how much time we have left, but
we've got about 30 seconds.
Okay, so maybe we could catch up on this afterwards, because I had a parallel bleed through.
Oh, there you go.
As I was going through this.
There you go. Let's take our break right here. I'm fascinated with because I know that you did just that. You were going to take advantage of the situation. You are you're stuck. You're in bed. You've got nothing to deal with but you and your mind. And I want to know what you did with yours, Jason. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Live from Canada, Jason Quitt on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. You can follow Jason at Jason_Quitt on Twitter. I'll be right back.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Hello, Fadernauts. This is Jimmy Church, and I'm introducing New Pharma, a company whose products are based on science. Human function based on the endocannabinoid system, or ECS. New Pharma firmly believes in this science, and their research indicates that support of the ECS provides the beneficial effects for a healthy lifestyle. New Pharma's science includes relief capsules for pain relief, sleep capsules, which are natural support for occasional sleeplessness. Foundation is support for your ECS, and Fit capsules support your active lifestyle. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B for a 33% discount on all of their products. Or visit newpharma.com for all of the knowledge on the science. That's GNUpharma.com. Go Beckley Tappy.
You're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers.
We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
Ancient Life Oil. Life-changing. The real oil. CBD is truly ancient life oil from the source. This oil has no psychoactive effect and is also legal in all 50 states. When you're healthy, you're happy. The truth about this wonderful plant is that it wants to give back to mankind life, longevity, and happiness. Ancient Life Oil are golden grade, all organic, non-GMO, and infused with high-quality liquid coconut oil. It's simple. Just go to ancientlifeoil.com today. That's ancientlifeoil.com. The best, purest, organic, and non-GMO CBD in the world. Go Beckley Tappy. The statements made regarding these products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Please consult your healthcare professional about potential interactions or other possible complications before using any product.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Jason Quitt. And this segment of Fade to Black is proudly brought to you by River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. That's right. Just go and use the promo code F2B blend, and you will get 15% off on your order. Click on the banners over at jimmychurchradio.com. Our guest tonight, Jason Quitt. Now, Jason, this is the thing about you is your presentations that you do when you speak at conferences, you are educating people. You are showing them the postures. You're showing them how to do things. And now, and you're going to be with us up at ECETI next August. And all we're going to do at ECETI with our Fade to Black conference is education. We're going to be teaching up there for 3 days. Can you imagine now how your focus will change and you will be able to present all of this to audiences across the country and around the world?
It's quite the education even for myself because, you know, these are the tools that I use personally because what else am I going to use? You know, so I'm happy to share what I do for myself with other people because I've heard of amazing cases where people have used what I've shown them with tremendous results.
Now, I don't know where I want to go right now. I don't know if I want to go back to the RSO and your experience with that and the strength of it because you went too far. Did you, I mean, what happened? Were you able to take advantage of, too much of the RSO and go and experience things? What happened?
Actually, it was a very interesting effect because if I did psychedelics, let's say like magic mushrooms or ayahuasca, even smoking certain types of strains of marijuana, some of those effects is actually a disconnection from your body. And it really makes it easy for you to leave or experience altered states outside of your body.
Right.
But with the Rick Simpson oil, I was actually very surprised because it had the complete opposite effect. It actually brought my consciousness and stuffed it right into my body. So I was extremely present with every breath I took, every second that went through my body. And let me tell you, that I hate to say high, but that high lasted about 8 hours nonstop. It didn't drop. It was constant for 8 hours. So if you're locked into that state, a lot of people wouldn't be able to handle that.
No, they panic.
They would really, really panic. And it was almost like your body is shutting down, but you're conscious that your body is shutting down. And you have no control over your body shutting down. So you become stuck in the situation where the only thing you can do is know you're safe, know nothing's going to happen to you, and it's doing exactly what needs to be done, and just be present until it stops. So I was just very much present in the feeling and working that through my body. I couldn't even go to sleep. A lot of people, when they're very high, they try to sleep, but there's no way. If I tried to go to sleep, I would be snapped right back into that feeling of this sensation within my body. It's almost like there's a warm, tingling numbness that goes to different parts of your body at different times. And I still have the oil, but I'm not in any pain, so there's no reason for me to take it. And this is also what I want to tell your audience, is that they basically kicked me out of the hospital a couple of days after surgery because, I got out of bed and walked to the washroom. And when they saw me do that, they're like, okay, get out of here. You're fine.
Wow, I thought that Canada was the opposite.
Well, I was in a trauma hospital.
Right. That just sounds like an American hospital. I mean, you have if you're pregnant here in the United States and you go and you have a baby, you are there for about 20 minutes. There's no 4-day hospital stay that I remember growing up. It's a totally different thing. Somebody just tweeted out, I've just got to read this to you. This is from Eric. I got to go back and catch this because it's awesome. He says, RSO is the black goo from Prometheus. Now, okay, we're going to get back to the out-of-body stuff. I want to go back to the moment of you going down the stairs. You experience a lot of things. Did you think, has it crossed your mind that maybe some entity or, maybe wanted you silenced, that maybe you were pushed, that was intentional?
Yes, it was intentional, but there's always two sides to a coin, because I'm going to be much stronger after this experience. And, I've given this a lot of thought, and I'll share this with your audience. I haven't told this to anybody, but the entire time that I was basically in, 20 out of 20 pain, I never suffered. There was never a thought in my mind that was a negative thought. In the entire time, I knew that I was going to heal extremely quickly. I knew that this had to happen for a purpose. And I just kept those thoughts in my mind. And like I said, I walked out of that hospital within about 4 days after surgery. I walked out of that hospital. And when I came home, I didn't take any drugs or morphine, I would say, pharmaceuticals. And I would say right now, as I'm speaking to you, I'm 99% perfect from where I was before.
So you still have a house full of medicine, right? The prescription kind, the pharmaceuticals, and it's just sitting there.
That's right.
That's amazing. That's just amazing that you could go through that. I don't know if I would have. It's not the temptation to take the drugs. I just don't like pain. I just don't. Now, this also popped up in Twitter. I just don't want this. It's starting to get away from me. Do you know what strain of cannabis RSO is extracted from?
Not the one that I got. I don't know, but I think that they try to make it with a 1-to-1 ratio of CBD to THC.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times they'll use other strains that are actually very high in THC. And I think that's the one I got. And both are very therapeutic. You actually need both. You need THC and CBD.
Sure.
They work on different parts of the body at the same time.
Now, did you experience, as you went down the stairs, did time slow down?
It was actually instant.
Oh,
it
really?
Happened so fast. It's like before I even could realize I was falling, I was already at the bottom of the stairs.
Wow. And this is coming in from Nurse Nancy. She says hi to you, by the way. She says, many spiritual practitioners go through significant medical crisis. Near death comes severe trauma in order to release old blocks, creating a clear channel for higher sensory perceptions, insight into the higher dimensions. Did this happen to you?
Yes, they actually said that what's happening is that a new blueprint needs to be installed, and before that happens, the old one basically has to be reformatted. So when you have a trauma like this, your energetic fields basically get ripped apart. You're just completely open and vulnerable. And it's very easy to lose consciousness. It's very easy to get attacked. Mm-hmm. And you just have to really focus. The only thing I could do was focus on the right mindset and focus on the right breath work. That's really what saved me, is the breathing, the conscious breathing. And every minute I was conscious in that hospital, I was consciously breathing to different parts of my body.
These questions are amazing, and as you know, you're part of our family, and everybody is so concerned about this, and they're all happy that you're on the show. By the way, a couple of things: you can also use the RSO as a cream and rub it straight in without psychoactive effects. So that's pretty interesting. Also, and this comes in from I can't see who it's from. Did you experience the window effect, the feeling of looking out the eyes as if it is a window due to the disconnect of the body and mind?
I don't know if it's exactly that description. For me, it happened a lot right after surgery, and it felt almost like I was retreating deep within my brain. So instead of looking out through my eyes, it was almost like I was looking from the center of my brain out my eyes, and things were farther away than they should be.
Do you think you learned a lesson?
Yes. I need to be present, and I need to basically focus on my own healing work. And this is I think the lessons are going to keep coming. But like I said, I wasn't present. I wasn't here. I was mentally out of my body, anxious, and that opens you up to elements like you said. But I really believe that what I described earlier with this healing element, this thing that turned on within me, and it was like fire that I can move, that was something new to me, that I could turn that on and turn that off and send it to the place that needed the healing and the work. And I'll tell you that when I was in the hospital, especially right after the surgery, I was having disconnects from my body into other parallel timelines that I couldn't control.
How so?
Well, it's like in those other timelines, well, let's say I would, because of the pain, I would lose consciousness. So the first couple of days was excruciating. And, when the nurses came to try to give me morphine, I didn't like it. And I just said, don't worry about it. I'm fine. I don't need it. So I guess I was very brave, and I guess my pain tolerance is extremely high. But I refused. The first couple of days, I was refusing to take any type of painkiller in the hospital. And because of that, I was having these disconnects. And it would happen when I would start to go to sleep. I would pop out, and I would be in another timeline. And it would be a parallel timeline to this right here. So I'm myself at this date and time, but on another timeline or a parallel Earth. And the craziest thing about it is that I had some serious injuries in those other timelines as well. So not only was my back broken here in this timeline, but I went and experienced me breaking my back somewhere else in another timeline.
Same way, downstairs?
Yep. And this was the most interesting one, and it's still freaking me out a bit because I experienced having a severe seizure. And it was, I don't know what a seizure is. Like, I've never experienced it in this life, but in that timeline, I lived through this seizure, and suddenly I lost control of my body and I fell to the floor, and all I could see was the room was like strobe lighting, red and white.
Wow.
And I knew I was going through a seizure and I couldn't do anything about it. And I felt something definitely wrong. In my brain, I could feel something was definitely wrong. So it seems to me that, as I'm going through this tragedy in this life, similar things are happening in parallel lives, which I never realized before. And because of the separation or the connection between these parallel worlds, I not only fell down the stairs and broke my back here, but I actually experienced having a seizure there, like literally feeling it as it's happening and falling down a different set of stairs and feeling everything that happened as well. So it's like traumatizing and traumatizing and traumatizing. And then I have to come back to the body and I have to say, okay, now I have to process this issue because it is an issue. If you do not process the experience, it could either go south, it can go very wrong in the healing process, or it will happen again. So I knew that. Yes, go ahead.
In the alternate versions of this accident, were any of them permanent?
Well, not that I know. I just experienced the trauma, and when I experienced the trauma, then I came back.
Right. Also, you posted about the accident, and you had asked everybody not to send any healing energy your way, and that was the opposite of what I think everybody expected you to say. Why? You said you had it under control.
Right. Well, here's the thing. I was in a very weakened energetic state because of what had happened and then me being in the hospital and being on drugs. So I had severe trauma, which means my energy is basically Swiss cheese. It's very weak. And I knew that if people would focus healing energy on me, it would overwhelm me. It actually may do some damage to me. And I really had to kind of put up a barrier. That's why I really didn't even want to tell people what happened, because I really wanted to just be in my own bubble.
Right.
And to experience my energy, because if people start sending their energy, it's going to be hard for me to distinguish what's mine and what's theirs. Also, I work very closely with the Native community here in Ontario. We call them the natives, or the medicine men, or the Algonquins. And when they heard what happened to me, they call it a sacred fire. So they create a sacred fire and keep it burning and help heal and correct what has been happening. And, if they're doing that, I don't want anybody else jumping in on and trying to assist.
What about crystals? What did you do? I can only imagine your arsenal of crystals up there. Did it help? What did you do?
Well, the truth is I couldn't really do anything because I could barely move, and like my left arm was basically dead, so I couldn't hold anything. But Monica actually, she brought a bunch of crystals and she put them all over the hospital room for me.
Right.
And they also brought technology, pulse magnetic field technology into the hospital. And what I did was I actually used different Tesla technology to help regenerate the tissues and the bones to really help me get back on my feet faster.
What did the hospital say about that?
Surprisingly, nothing. They didn't even ask. In fact, I had nurses help me turn it on, take it off, and they never even questioned or asked what this thing was.
That's cool. Did the doctors? I'm totally interested in it. Did they come in and ask, what you were doing and if it was helping? Were they curious?
No, No, absolutely no curiosity whatsoever, which I found very strange. It was almost like it was invisible.
Yeah, I mean, I could understand opposition to it. Oh, you don't want to interfere with the other electronics here in the hospital on this floor. That excuse, right? Yeah. All the way to, I've been interested in some of this other, the other health things out there like this, and I have questions. You didn't even get that?
My personal opinion is that when they saw it, I think they were just embarrassed that they didn't know what it was. So they just pretended that it was a part of the hospital.
Sure. What goes through? You mentioned that the fall was instant, right? There wasn't any slowing of time or anything, which surprises me. I think that's the opposite for most. But what about the mental replays as you play it back? Is that also instant?
Yes. And I think it was instant because it was pitch dark. So I had no visual stimulus whatsoever. It was pitch dark. And the only thing that I saw is every time I hit a step, you see stars and you see a bright white light.
Right. Rita said to me, "Don't laugh anymore during the break. This is not funny." I said, "Jason's laughing."
You need to laugh.
You need to laugh. You need to laugh. And every time I say Rick Simpson oil, I'm going to laugh. Going back to the fall itself, you didn't die, Jason. You didn't. No. You didn't. You're not paralyzed from the neck down. It could have been a very, very serious situation. Was somebody protecting you?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a very strong, I'll say, guardians or beings that I work with, which is basically myself and my family on other dimensions.
Right.
And, being in shamanic medicine, we learn how to build protection fields around the body. But, when you have such a trauma, those fields basically get destroyed. They protect you, but they get destroyed. So then you have to start rebuilding them. That's another reason why I didn't want any healing, is because I had to focus on rebuilding my own energy body in the way that I was taught to do it.
You didn't go, and again, I'm not making light of this, but you didn't get to see the scales and the feathers and Osiris, right? You weren't at that moment.
Of
judgment of life.
No. Like I said, I was completely conscious. In fact, my mind, was thinking differently than what my body was trying to tell me. My mind was saying, I'm just going to get up and walk out of this, no problem. Or my body is just basically saying, you can't move. So I was actually very lucid. And the thing that I actually found fascinating is that when you go through this type of trauma, your consciousness actually gets pulled back. So my mind was very, very different for the month. It wasn't like now I have the time to travel and do all these spiritual things. It was almost like my mind was wiped clean. I didn't even remember who Jason really was or what Jason can do or where Jason is going. I was almost in shock where if you asked me a question a couple weeks ago, I could probably barely answer you because my mind was not there. And I feel like I just regained my mind a week ago.
With all of your experiences of the past, with your visions of the future and your experiences, we don't need to revisit that now, but did you see this coming?
No, this was a big shot in the dark. And like I said, there are forces out there. And I don't really want to talk about this stuff openly, especially on the radio. But there are forces out there that work at a level of sorcery, magic, and many people don't believe in that stuff. But I've witnessed it firsthand. And when you let your guard down, you basically open a door for some serious things to come through. And that's also one of my teachings that I have to learn from this. I have to learn how to better protect myself and keep my energy at a certain place so that things like this won't happen again.
Well, all of us, everybody on this planet experiences that. And you cannot, it's called letting your guard down, right? You can't, with life in general, you cannot take your foot off the gas. You can't become complacent. You can't let your guard down. And every time that you do, you can look back into the past and go, man, bad stuff happened. Right? You can just do that. Every time you get comfortable, bad stuff happens. And you just can't do that. That is a life lesson right there. Keep your guard up and keep your foot on the gas. Keep moving forward. But
the real craziness of this whole thing is when I spoke to my higher self and you ask, why did this happen to me? Mm-hmm. And they said, you did this. You were planning to do this, and you had to do it at this time so that you can do and reach something else. Now, you're being put on a new path, basically.
Okay. We're going to pick up on that thought when we come back. And when I hear stuff like that, I get a little bit angry, only because it is too obvious of a statement. Right? It's too obvious of a statement, but it is something that you need to hear. You know what I mean? And
I agree.
To go forward, you must first go back. Well, dude, I know that. Right? I know that. But it is, nothing could be truer. Let's take a break right here. Our guest tonight, Jason Quitt. And Jason, as I said that, everybody just stay patient. Right as I said that, I lost my audio. There it is. Our guest tonight, Jason Quitt. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. You can follow Jason at Jason_Quitt. This is Fade to Black. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. And last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously. Go Beckley Tappy.
Do you worry a lot? Whether you're a college student, busy professional, parent, or grandparent, ongoing stress and elevated levels of the stress hormone cortisol can rob your memory, your health, and your future. Now you can combat the effects of stress and anxiety while improving your memory and recall at the same time with the dietary supplement Calm and Clever. Studies show that the ingredients in Calm and Clever reduce cortisol by as much as 30% in 1 to 2 weeks. Call 1-800-758-8746 or calmandclever.com.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
Hi, folks. CBD is the home run hitter for health right now. Why, you ask? Because of what it does for the body. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about the benefit. You know, there's reasons. Do your due diligence and log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com. Ancient Life Oil uses organic ingredients and is blended in coconut oil for some of the best benefits. Legal in 50 states and non-psychoactive. Log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Jason Quitt. Amazing conversation going on. And this segment of Fade to Black is proudly brought to you by New Pharma. Click on their banner over at jimmychurchradio.com. Go to their site and you can read about all of the science behind New Pharma, GNU Pharma. And I take the Relax, I take the Foundation every single day. It is absolutely the best. Use the promo code F2B and you'll get 33% off of your order. You know, Jason, CBD, homeopathic, natural ways of going about things like products like, you know, not only Ancient Life Oil and their CBDs, but New Pharma, which mimics CBDs without CBDs. Great science behind the product. And all of this is something that we can all benefit from and not deal with pharmaceuticals. Isn't it an amazing time to be alive?
It's a really amazing time to be alive. And, you know, people kind of get doctors down, but, you know, when you're seriously injured, they basically saved me from a life of being a cripple.
Yeah, you know, I say that all the time, Jason. You know when you need a doctor? When you break your back. That's when you need a doctor, right? You don't need a doctor when you see a commercial on TV and go, "Oh, I have those symptoms," right? And you go and you get a prescription for a prescription, and then the next thing you know, you're on that treadmill. You're absolutely right. You need a doctor when you break your back, when you break your arm. That's when you go. You need a doctor at that point. There's no question about it. All the other stuff, balancing out your body, you know, from your pineal gland on down, your entire nervous system and your immune system, you can do all of this and stay correct. It's not going to keep you from being pushed by a black entity down some stairs. That's a whole nother issue. Now, you had mentioned right before the break that you were told by your higher self that you needed this at this point in your life. And like I said, I always get angry with that. It's a hard way to have a life lesson. But what is it? Why now?
I really don't know, to tell you the truth. I'm still trying to put the pieces together and figure it all out. And I think that there's something going on energetically on the planet right now. And I needed to be still. I couldn't be running around the world. I was supposed to be in Japan for a month. And when I'm in Japan is when I'm the most busy. So if I had to integrate what I needed to integrate from these earth energies that are happening right now, especially that it happened on a new moon. So the accident itself happened on the new moon. And I think right now is the supermoon. We're talking in the supermoon energies. And then at the end of the month, there is an eclipse, a blue moon and a blood moon. So there's something energetically changing and shifting on this planet. And those that are connected to the earth grids and the crystalline grids of the planet they're going to go through some very serious changes within the next month. That's what I believe.
I want you to go back. You had mentioned something about how important the breath is to maintain grounding and maintaining self in the body during this trauma and pain. We move past that too quickly. Can we go back to that?
Absolutely. In fact, that was the most important lesson I learned over this whole thing, which is the breath. Like, I can't believe how powerful it is. Basically, how you breathe is you bring your attention to your stomach, and you start to take long, deep breaths, and you bring that attention right behind your belly button. In Qigong, they call it the dantian. And you just slowly breathe there until you have a change or shift in consciousness. So it's almost like you're putting yourself in a meditative state. And once you reach this meditative state, it's almost like you drop within your body. So it's almost like your eyes, you know how your eyes are in the front of your head? It's almost like when you breathe this way, your eyes start to descend down to your spinal cord. It's a very strange feeling. Mm-hmm. So your eyes descend down. And when that happens, you feel like your body is a sarcophagus, basically. So it's like you're inside the shell of your body. That's what you feel. And it becomes very warm and tingly. So you become inside your body. And when you reach that state of consciousness with the breath, then with your mind, you can focus on different parts of your body and breathe through your focus. For example, if I'm in this state and I focus on my big toe, very quickly I will feel an in and out breath coming in and out of my toe. It's a very awesome feeling. It's almost like where you put your focus is where the body will start breathing. And it's breathing this energy. So you're breathing this field through that center, wherever you put your focus.
Eric Rains was on the show last night, taking us through breathing exercises, speaking about exactly this. It's just amazing that you're talking about this now. Kind of weird synchronicity, right?
Well, it really saved me. It's what I had to do because, you know, when I was in school and I took, for example, the science of essential oils, when I took that class, the thing in the back of my mind was, what happens if I don't have access to oils? How am I going to heal? And then I went to another class, which is kinesiology. So now I could use my hands and use kinesiology and acupressure to work on the body's energetic system. But then I thought, well, what happens if I can't move and I'm stuck within my body? Well, the answer is breathing. It's unbelievably powerful once you get focused in that. And I'll tell you, when you get into a deep state of that type of breath, this is pretty amazing to me. That's why I'm kind of stuttering here, is that the universe breathes you. It's the craziest feeling. It's suddenly you feel this field, this in and out breath that's not yours. It has nothing to do with your body. And then you go into that field. And once you go into that field, it takes over your body and it starts breathing you for you. So you just kind of disconnect and let this universal in and out pull start reviving or working on your body. It's amazingly powerful.
Oxygen, all of the molecules and elements and things that we breathe, that is nature. That's how we live, right? You can't ignore that. That is what keeps us alive. It only makes sense, Jason. And the more that I practice it and that everybody does, it only makes sense. It doesn't matter if you're a plant or a bug or a fish or a human. That's what we do. And that's what keeps you alive. I want to, again, jump back. What day was the accident? What was the date?
It was the 14th of November.
14th of November. We're only on January 3rd. So it is a miracle that you're here on this show right now, considering I'm still looking at the X-ray, right? It's up on my screen. It's just amazing to look at. but you said something very significant. You said that you didn't have your mind back until a week ago. Explain.
Yeah. It's almost like when a person goes through a traumatic event, there's almost like a scar that develops in the memory centers of the brain to kind of envelope the trauma. It's almost like a protection. So I really felt that I wasn't myself, that I couldn't think straight, that I couldn't have a conversation with somebody. Because if you asked me anything that you would think I would know, I would probably just take a long time to think about it and try to figure out a way to present it, which is not like me at all.
Right.
And I think that these scars in the brain, it's like a protection coating. And as you start to heal and process what's going on, that scarring tissue will heal itself. And it'll allow it to go through. It's very similar, like in shamanism, they call it soul retrieval. And what a soul retrieval is that when a person goes through a traumatic event in their life, a piece of their energy, a piece of their consciousness is disconnected from their physical self. And that piece of consciousness actually goes down into the earth. So it separates from you and it goes down into the earth. And you're not losing this energy. But what's happening is that this piece of your consciousness is going to its mother. It's going to the Mother Earth to be safe and protected. So that when you are ready to process that memory, when you are ready to deal with that trauma and heal it, that piece of you that is stored in the earth is going to be recalled back to you and basically make you whole again. So it's not like you're losing these things. They're just being kept safe so that because remember, if it comes back and you're still dealing with the trauma, you could hurt that part of your consciousness. So it's a shielding mechanism that happens.
When you got your mind back, were you relieved? In other words, did you think that maybe that part could almost be permanent?
I was actually very scared.
Right.
But, I just continued to focus on the work, which is just taking it easy, knowing my limits, doing the breathing meditations, working with some crystals. And by the way, another important fact that you touched on, I want to add is that one of the most important things as well is to completely nutrify the body. So I was taking tons of supplements, tons.
What were you taking?
Elements. I was taking a mineral mix, a bone mix, magnesium, calcium. What else was I taking? Elk velvet antler, high in collagen and silica. So I was taking a lot of different things. I was using Ormus. I was rubbing the magnesium and Ormus on my body where the pain was. So I was using a lot of things to nutrify the body, because to heal, we need all these elements available so that the muscle, the tissue, the bones, the nerves can regenerate themselves. And also I was using light therapy. I was using pulse magnetic field therapy, basically 3 times a day to boost this healing. And I really actually amazed myself, even though I didn't have my mind back, the physical pain of it. I would say about 90% healed only a couple weeks after breaking my back. It was very quick. And the people around me, especially my family, would get very angry with me and upset with me because I would get out of bed and I'd bend over and pick something heavy up, and they would yell at me like I'm a crazy person.
As they should, because that is stupid.
It is stupid. But that's how good I felt.
Wow.
And what about what I went through?
What did you do for your immune system? Were you doing CBDs? What were you doing to align and get that back into function?
I did CBDs, like small microdoses of the Rick Simpson, because I didn't really want a repeat of being in a comatose state.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. Rick Simpson oil makes me laugh, man. It just makes me laugh. Yeah, it's too strong. It's too. You need to know what you're doing with that. Everybody, don't go out and listen to Jason and I right now and want to go into this comatose state. It's very, very, very powerful.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in.
I've got 1,000 milligram CBD right here, and but it's non-psychoactive, right? And I feel safe taking that. There's no THC in it, but jumping over to the other side. But you did do CBD for your immune system.
That's correct.
Yeah, very safe. That's the
very
way
safe, and also just a very good liquid multi-minerals, multivitamin, and that's basically what I did. It wasn't very complicated, but I definitely noticed a difference, especially with all the spiritual work I was doing. And like I said before, trauma doctors are amazing, but you're out of the door in a couple days.
Right.
So you're on your own, and the only thing you have is a prescription in your hand for painkillers.
That's right.
And you're supposed to do what exactly? So this is where all the information we're talking about is incredibly important. You need to take these supplements. You need to nutrify your body, and you need to have that energetic spiritual side where you can work on yourself to get these traumas healed, to get the memories healed. Because when you heal a trauma and a memory, bones will move. That's how powerful healing a memory is. Your bones will physically move back into position. It's the craziest thing.
Now, but what about the backside? You get healed, you're done, and everybody does this. They stop taking the supplements. They stop doing everything that they were doing to get healed. They feel better. And then, you know what I mean? Are you going to continue the regimen?
Oh, my wife will make sure of that.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, okay, all right. You have to. I'm so disciplined with it now. I keep everything staring at me in the face, and I don't let up. But I feel great, and believe me, I've abused my body over the years, and there are plenty of people out there that will say that. And you have to, once you get started and you start to feel great, you need to stay on top of it. I want to go back to the crystals part. Rita just got, what do you think about strawberry quartz?
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. What does it do for you?
Actually, I don't have any with me right now, but I would tell you that strawberry quartz is an amplifier of consciousness, and it actually helps ground energy and work on the heart. So it's an amplifier of consciousness, but it also has this really soft side, and it has this very ancient connection to, I would say, Lemuria. So what I would do with it is you could make an elixir with it, is very good. You could also use it, I would say, in the mornings. I wouldn't use strawberry quartz at night. It might give you too much energy where you can't sleep.
Well, Rita just got a massive strawberry quartz skull.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful. We got a small one, about the size of, maybe 2 inches. And then we have this massive one. I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe, but between about the size of a grapefruit, between, I don't know what, about bigger than your fist, but smaller than a grapefruit. And you can feel it, man. You pick this up, and first off, the artistry involved is beautiful. It's called Corazon. That's its name. But you can feel the power of this thing. You can really, for those out there that go, crystals, whatever, you know what? Hold this for a few minutes. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, and I would say that quartz any strain of quartz is actually has a very, very special property to it, because it's always listening to the field of the earth. It's always connected to the fields of the earth. So that as you're holding it, you're actually reconnecting yourself to the natural forces around you. It's being circulated through you, and it's actually amplifying your consciousness. So, think of your body as an antenna, and the crystal is the amplifier. So when you hold that crystal, you can actually send your thoughts, your prayers, your healing much stronger, with much more intention, just by holding a quartz.
But don't have it on your nightstand when you sleep.
I got a great story about that, because I went to Arkansas, and I basically picked up tons of Arkansas quartz, which is an extremely powerful quartz crystal. And I had clusters literally surrounding myself in the bedroom. Every surface had a huge crystal on it. And I was having trouble sleeping. I was having a lot of experiences. And one day, they're getting dusty. So I take all the quartz out of my room and I wash them. So now they're outside my room. And I went to go to sleep. I had the best sleep of my life. And then I woke up and I go, oh my God, these crystals. Can't have too many crystals in your bedroom.
No, you can't. Or you can, actually. That's the other funny part. What about the Auralite for you with your back problem? Did you use it?
Yeah, actually, because of my relationship with the Auralite mine, I wish you could come and see my house right now, because every room has boxes of this Auralite. So my house is basically an Auralite mine in itself. And I have maybe about 20, 30 pieces even underneath my bed at the moment. And my entire nightstand is basically all quartz and Auralite. So when I'm in bed or relaxing or doing my healing work, I will put and place these Auralite crystals in my hands or on my body, and I'll do the breathing exercises like I explained, and then I would breathe in through the crystal, and I could feel an amplification of that energy going through me. And I know for sure that crystals really boost. The crystals have an ability to boost your healing potential. So if something is going to take 2 weeks to heal, if you're using crystals, it'll shorten that amount of time. So it has this kind of amplification or speeding up process. But sometimes it's not good, because when I was in the hospital, I tried to hold a crystal and I couldn't. Because right when I would hold the crystal, I'd have shooting pain in my body. My body was just way too sensitive and way too hurt to hold a crystal. So I had to wait a good couple of weeks until I could hold a crystal and it's not hurting me anymore.
So the doctors didn't come in and look around the room and see, you guys focusing crystals and aligning them in the room. They didn't say, do you think it's because they'd seen it before, or they just thought you were nuts?
It's a great question. The answer is I have no idea. I just think that, especially in this hospital, it is a very traumatic hospital. A lot of very awful things come through that hospital. And I think when you look at the eyes of these doctors and nurses, you know that they've seen some pretty awful things. So they're not really thinking about anything that's going on in that room.
Yeah, fair enough. Two quick questions before we get to the top of the hour, and then we're going to take phone calls when we come back. I know everybody would like to say hi to you, so we'll do that at the top of the hour. But two questions. How do you cleanse a crystal, and how do you charge a crystal? I've heard so many different things on both sides. So let's go to the cleansing. How do you cleanse a crystal? Okay.
There's very simple ways of cleansing a crystal, and the easiest one to do is just hold it under water. Turn your faucet on and let the water flow over the crystal. It's probably the easiest way of doing it.
Cold?
I would just say room temperature water. It doesn't have to be cold.
Okay.
But also your intention is probably the most important thing. So as the water is going through it, your intention is this water is clearing the energies and resetting this crystal.
Okay.
Another way to do it is just get like a little bowl of salt, no water, just salt, and just put the crystal in the bed of salt, and that will cleanse it. You could also wash it in different materials, like you could wash it in cedar wood water or any type of sage water or sweetgrass water. You can just wash the crystal. And to charge the crystal, all you have to do is put it on the ground. Just let it touch the earth, and that will really charge the crystal. Or if it's snowing out, just put it in the windowsill and allow the rays of the sun or the moon to touch the crystal, and that will recharge it as well.
Now, when you say on the ground, you mean sitting on dirt, not concrete?
That's right.
Sit it on dirt. And how long? And what about overnight?
Overnight is good. In fact, many people that use crystals for healing will put crystals out every new moon and full moon. It'll be like a ceremony. They would put them out to capture the energies of the new moon and then the energies of the full moon, and that will basically charge the crystal with that.
Now, what about putting certain types of crystal next to each other when you're charging them? I've heard different opinions here too as well. Are there things you should do or not do?
There's a crystal called fluorite, and fluorite is a very good cleanser and charger of crystals. So if you have like a nice cluster or piece of fluorite, you can take your jewelry and crystals and actually put it on the fluorite, and it'll actually start to cleanse it and charge it.
Is there something you shouldn't do?
I will say crystals have a mind of their own, and they will protect you. And I've had these experiences multiple times. I may have spoken about this on your show before, but they take hits for you. So I would be sitting at a dinner table, let's say talking to my family, and I'll be wearing a beautiful crystal around my neck. And this crystal out of nowhere will just explode in all directions in like 100 pieces.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. It's happened multiple times.
And do you know which family member was causing it?
I don't know if it was a family member or something else, but the crystal sometimes will take on that energetic hit and sacrifice itself for you. And I've had a very weird experience before where I had a piece of it was jet. It was a jet in my hand, and I was just holding it and I was touching it with my thumb. And I've had this piece of jet for years, so it was not a new piece for me. And I would usually hold it in my hands and massage it with my thumb, like a worry stone. And one day I'm just massaging it, and it just turned to dust in my hands. Wow. It literally just turned to dust instantly.
It had given up.
Yeah, you could just blow it in the wind.
Wow. Let's take a break right here. When we come back, we'll take questions from everybody. We'll take phone calls for Jason Quitt. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. And also, when we come back, we have to talk about disclosure and what happened in 2017. There you go. It's Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Jason Quitt. We'll be right back.
Hi everybody, this is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim.
That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on the smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
Hello, Fadernauts. This is Jimmy Church, and I'm introducing New Pharma, a company whose products are based on science. Human function based on the endocannabinoid system, or ECS. New Pharma firmly believes in this science, and their research indicates that support of the ECS provides the beneficial effects for a healthy lifestyle. New Pharma's science includes relief capsules for pain relief, sleep capsules, which are natural support for occasional sleeplessness. Foundation is support for your ECS, and Fit capsules support your active lifestyle. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B for a 33% discount on all of their products. Or visit newpharma.com for all of the knowledge on the science. That's GNUpharma.com. Go Beckley Tappy. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Jason Quitt. You can follow Jason on Twitter at Jason_Twit or Quitt. Did I say? Did I just say that live on the air? Jason Quitt. Jason_Quitt. You can follow me at J Church Radio. And this segment of Fade to Black is proudly brought to you by New Manna. Emergency food storage for you and your family, 25-year shelf life, MSG and GMO free, and made right here in America. Use the promo code Jimmy when you order. Any order over $100 is going to get you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Jason, you ready to take some phone calls?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do this. I'm going to open up the phone lines here. Give me a second. 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. Let me take a second here. I'm going to get this tweeted out. And disclosure happened, Jason, or a mild form of it. I think it was pretty dramatic. Back on December 16th, 2017. What did you think about that moment?
It was very exciting, very surprising, and I know that a lot of people have had a lot of mixed feelings. The community is very divided on what's going on and the release of this information. But remember, how is Anderson Cooper at CNN going to explain this phenomenon to my grandmother? that's how it has to start. So I really think that this is a very important step forward. And I really think that we shouldn't really be caught up in the politics of what's being going on now, and focus on the evidence of what's being presented to us. And what's being presented to us is actually outstanding videos from really amazing sources that show us this phenomenon. And I know that they're not saying alien life or extraterrestrials. They're just saying aerial phenomenon, or an aerial phenomenon, or a threat. But I really think this is a very good step forward, and it's going to bring a lot more attention to the UFO community and the 60 plus years of research and experiences that is out there for people to learn. So I think this is a really good step to getting this information out there. I also think that the reason this is happening now is because of all the incredible researchers and experiencers that have been giving amazing testimonies and information out to the public for the past 20, 30 years. And it's gotten to such a point of disclosure that the government has to step in and acknowledge something. They have to do something, because it's getting out of control. In fact, if you turn on the TV, almost all the popular shows have to do with conspiracy, UFOs, or phenomenon. So it's really amazing that this has reached the mass consciousness. Now, the problem that people are facing with this new disclosure is that we really don't know the real reason behind it. We don't know the agenda behind it. So, usually when things come from top level government officials, especially the Pentagon or the military, you really have to sit back for a second and try to figure out what is their intentions of doing this. Is it solely for disclosure or to introduce exotic new technology, or what is their purpose in allowing this to come through? I don't know if you remember, of course you remember this, when Larry King would have like a 4-star general on a show, and the 4-star general would basically show a video and state right into the camera that UFOs are going to our nuclear sites and they're turning off our nuclear weapons. And then right next to the 4-star general, there will be just some guy from Skeptics Magazine,
Michael Shermer, yes.
And he'll just say, "Oh, it's swamp gas."
Right.
But the thing with that is that skeptic needed to be there for this information to come through, because if the 4-star general said UFOs are shutting down our nuclear facilities, our nuclear weapons, it would cause panic everywhere. That we can't control this. So that when someone like a skeptic will come forward and say, "Oh, it's just swamp gas, don't worry about it," it just calms the person's mind so they don't freak out, and they just kind of store that information and be very passive about it. And this is how they've been doing balanced reporting on UFOs or conspiracies or even phenomena, because they don't want this public outcry or panic. So remember, there's a lot of religious people out there. There's a lot of people that have no idea about what we are discussing here on your show. And you've had all these guests on through the years. Basically, that's disclosure. They've brought forward so much incredible information. But how do you reach the people sitting around the dinner table that know nothing about this subject?
How do you think the hosts, those mass media talking heads, handled it? Do you think they got the point across? Because they are completely inexperienced about this. You can, it's not like they were talking about politics or Trump and Hillary or the Russians. This is completely out of their wheelhouse. How do you think they handled it?
I think they handled it the best at their ability at the time. I think that they may be knocking on your door and asking if you would like to be a host of one of these shows for this topic. And I think that would help a lot. But remember, how are you going to reach people like my grandmother and give them the information? You basically have to start them off with the nuts and bolts. And, people in the community, we've heard the nuts and bolts and we've heard all these stories a million times before. And to us, it's like, okay, just admit there's aliens, admit there's this, but it can't go that fast. Also, with Tom DeLonge, he also saying that there's going to be more releases of incredible videos. So I think the video that they showed us is not very good. It's good as a good introduction because you don't really see anything. It's just this static shot of this Tic Tac UFO right in the center of the screen. It's, in infrared. It could be anything, But I think that the next releases of these videos are going to be spectacular. And this is just a test of the water. How are people going to handle this first little step? So they will have to face and do more broadcasts as they release better information from the Pentagon and these intelligence agencies.
How are you going to incorporate, disclosure and the awakening process?
I really think that disclosure and the awakening process is one and the same. And I say this because when you learn something new, you change your perspective. You change the chemistry of your body. You change your DNA just by changing your perspective and your thoughts. So if we can change the world's consciousness to being open and receptive to something outside of the normal, it will actually help in the awakening process. And many people, and when this happens, and it is happening, the first thing people are going to go into is fear. Fear, judgment, anger. And this is the first step. So people are going to get very upset because with change comes those emotions. And that's where they will start searching for consciousness. They'll start searching for spirituality and searching for answers in other ways to explain this new change in perspective. So I think that consciousness and disclosure go hand in hand.
Fear of what, Jason?
Fear of change.
Fear of the unknown?
Fear of the unknown, fear of change. I would say that a lot of people have a very strong core belief system and nothing will get in the way of that. And if you present them with something that will question their beliefs, they will put up a wall and fight it tooth and nail, basically.
Is it because of that indoctrination, that dogma that has been fed to them without an alternative, then that's all that they know?
That's correct. We are basically fed a false reality from the day that we're born.
Right.
And I would say it's not our fault. This is thousands of years of programming in us. And we wake up every day with anxiety on our hearts and not knowing what's wrong. But what's wrong is that the reality that we face every day is not a true reality that we should be living in. So there's definitely growing pains that are going to happen. So, I would think that people want full disclosure. They want Trump to come on CNN. Actually, he would never go on CNN. He'd go on Fox and just say, yep, here's the alien body and here's the ships. And soon we're going to go to their planet and have colonies. And I have a Trump hotel on this planet.
Right.
Right. So we have to kind of get to this reality. And first, I think we really don't even understand the complexity of this question. We can see objects in the sky, but it's so much more complex than that. Who are these operators? What are they? If they're so advanced, how could we even conceptualize how they would think and what they want or what their purpose is? They can be so advanced that they're not even physical. They might be extra dimensional, and to come into this reality, they may create biological entities. they may create bodies in a physical form and then inhabit them at a higher dimensional level. So we have no clue what these beings are capable of. And I think the reason that, a UFO has not landed on the White House lawn and shook hands is because these beings are not what we think they are. They're way more advanced than we can possibly imagine, and they've probably even evolved to a point where they are not even in this time-space dimension. And to be in this time-space dimension, they need specific biological bodies to inhabit. And I think that from what I've seen or from what I've heard, the only conclusions that I've come to is that these beings operate outside of time and space, and that they can create biological life for different habitats, for different planets, and then they could embody those just like a spacesuit, and now they can navigate that world. So, and that's just one small little aspect. And then you get into the plasma dimensional crafts, or the plasma dimensional entities, where they're just basically orbs or balls of light, like fire in the sky, basically just balls of light. And many believe from experiencing these balls of light that there's no operators inside of them, that they are a conscious being themselves. And we don't even know what these higher dimensional beings look like. What if these higher dimensional beings that pop in and out of our time and space look like plasma UFOs? What if that's the vessel or body that can operate through these dimensions? So we are, when we're talking about, electromagnetic drives that we're going to create, or Tom DeLonge says they're going to create a ship with an electromagnetic drive. Wasn't Stanton Friedman talking about that stuff like in the 80s?
Yeah, gravity.
So like
magneto drive. That was Stanton's thing, right?
Right, and I believe he worked on projects like that, and he saw them operational, or knew people in that and saw them operational. But this is like 30, 40 years ago. So if this is the technology that they're talking about right now, to be released maybe in the next 10, 20 years from now, think of how far we are actually behind in releasing this information.
Right.
Yeah, I still think it's very positive. It needs to come out. But my only reservation is, how is it coming out? Is it coming out first as a military thing? So the first thing we'll ever see with these new drives is that we'll have a fleet of our own UFOs, basically. So instead of jets, we'll have UFOs with these drives in it. And it would be so expensive that maybe in the future, maybe 50 years from now, it'll trickle down to the public.
You bring up a really good point when we talk about who these beings are. If the beings themselves, are here physically, what is it? What are they made up of? Because the only way for us, with our current technology, to even contemplate going to the stars or traveling for thousands of years on a ship is we have to be able to transfer our own id, our consciousness, ourselves, onto a hard drive. Our physical body's not going to be able to live for 10,000 years on a ship. There's just no way. And have that in a robot or some kind of device, because when we get to where we are going, the representative that they are going to meet is that. It wouldn't be us, our physical selves. That would be an impossibility. Hyper sleep and cryogenics and all of that. Okay, that's a possibility. But the only surefire way to do it is to survive on a computer chip. And that would be the exact situation that you're referring to here. Maybe they're creating some kind of biological body, and they're downloading themselves onto that, and that's what. Because we would do the same thing going in the other direction. It only makes sense, Jason.
But that's what I do naturally now. And this is why I bring it up, is that when I leave my body, so when I disconnect from the physical form and I enter into the fourth dimension or astral world, and you can travel through wormholes and go to different planets or dimensions, when I get to those planets or dimensions, I'm either in a state of energy where I could just observe and no one could see me, or my consciousness goes inside a vessel. And it could be a human-like vessel, it could be an alien-like vessel, but that once I'm in, it's like the vehicle. Now I can go and experience this world.
What about the plasma balls that you were referring to? We've all seen them. I certainly have. And when I was looking at, one specific experience that I've talked about a lot, when I was watching this green, what I thought, I've described as a green chrome ball, I'm looking at it through the binoculars, through the night vision, and I'm watching the various lasers that people are pointing at this object. It's miles away, but I can see it, the lasers reflect off of it. Okay, so therefore, it's not a ball of energy unless energy can reflect off of energy. There's a concept. I wonder if I guess that would be possible with plasma, because plasma does have a solid state, right? Oh, okay, yes. That's interesting. But nonetheless, I was watching the lasers reflect back off of it and sparkle, which said to me that it wasn't some kind of light anomaly, something that was just a ball of light and nothing physical to it. There was something physical to this craft. When you hear me describe something like that, what do you think I was seeing?
I think you're describing it perfectly. And the only way I could describe it is a type of dimensional membrane. That what you're actually experiencing is a bubble in time and space. So you're actually looking at a bubble between dimensions. So it's physical and not physical. And plasma, I think, is a fourth state of matter as well. And being a fourth state of matter in plasma, it's almost in a state of flux. So it can actually change into different types of form. So what I think we're seeing, and we saw it at Mount Adams, those lights just fire up on the mountain.
Right.
I think those are literal bubbles or membranes between dimensions of time and space. Through that, things could travel, things can pass through, or information can be passed, or energy can be passed from one world to another.
Do you remember, I forgot about this, you and I, when we were up at Mount Adams, that one night when that craft came from behind us from the trees, low level, it was white and kind of pink and blue too as well, changing colors, but it flew over the top of us, and when it got to the 12 o'clock position, there was 100 or 200 people out there at that moment. It flashed, you remember, and took a picture of everybody. That was pretty nutty, wasn't it? And
it was low too. It wasn't
was low,
high up.
No, you could see the shape of that craft. And I know you and I sound like we're talking crazy right now, but this actually happened. Were you surprised with that camera flash?
Oh, yeah. It was the first time I've seen something like that. And what I remember vividly is that it had this beautiful white pinkish light. And
yes.
I've never seen this pink light before in that spectrum. It was a beautiful pink light.
It was like a pearl. It kind of had a little blue to it, and that pink and the white, and it was just amazing to see. And it wasn't even going that fast either. It was kind of slow, and it went right over us and camera flashed us and then just kept on going. And when it passed us, that's when I saw it kind of go pink-blue. It wasn't white anymore.
Wow. And like you said, it was low, it was moving slowly, it was very visible, and when it let out that flash of light, it lit up everything. It was very bright.
It was very bright. Everybody screamed. That was well, yeah, it was so low, that was the thing, because we were seeing stuff up high or over at Mount Adams, and that's 14 miles away, and it was all great and fun. But this thing flew directly over us, right? It could not have been more direct or low, and you could see the shape of it. It was dramatic.
And, I have to add something to the story, because when Monica and I got back to Canada, we do walks at night, and we're walking at night, and Monica's, we're having a conversation about what we experienced at Mount Adams, and we were talking about what you're talking about. And she said, well, what's the point of these ships flashing us? Like, what's the point? Why would they do that? And I just said, they're just trying to acknowledge our presence, that we're, consciously aware of them as well. And when I said that, right in front of me, right above my head, this big flash of light lit the whole sky up. And I turned to him and I go, did you see that? Exactly. They're acknowledging your conscious connection to them. And that's why I think this goes into the realm of consciousness, the realm of higher dimensional fields that we are connected to somehow. We just haven't come to that level of knowledge yet to understand this connection.
What was, and you're right, what was really cool was for those, 100 or 200 people that were out there with us that night, to have that happen for them, where we all shared it together, right? We all witnessed it together. That's what made that special. I mean, to hear you and I go, yeah, man, this disc flew over, it was changing colors, and then it flashed us like Men in Black, and then took off. It's just a story, Jason. Right?
Oh, you just reminded me. I have to tell this to people. Sorry to just totally go off topic here, but about 15 years ago, I went into this other parallel, and
you know what? Hold on, Jason. You know what? Yeah. This is going to take too long. I'm just going to take a break right here. That's it. Let's take a break. Perfect. I can tell where this is going, and I'm not going to cut you off in the middle of it. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Okay, let's take our break right here. Our guest tonight, Jason Quitt. Jason doesn't know it, but him and his back are going to go into overtime tonight right here on Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. We'll be right back. A parallel world, 15-year ago story. That's overtime. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Here, and you are listening to my boy Jimmy Church on jimmychurchradio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter, but listening to Jimmy Church will.
So you went to dinner last night, you had your favorite pasta. Ugh. Or maybe you had a heavy, spicy meal and it left you. Ugh. GetTheT.com. Maybe you mowed down a huge steak and your plumbing is all plugged. Ugh. GetTheT.com. Our super strength tea will take care of your occasional. Ugh. It's all organic and non-GMO. Get rid of ugh. We have so many great supplements, but our super tea is number one. GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roasted to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hey, can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com. The holidays are coming. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRAradio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, talking about those green chrome balls. Bearing Optics. The segment of Fade to Black is proudly brought to you by Bearing Optics, the night vision that we both use and approve of here at Fade to Black. Every night watch we've ever done has been done with Bearing Optics. All you have to do is give Alec Hoffman a call. His phone number and everything are over at jimmychurchradio.com in the banner. Click on it, and all you have to do when you speak with Alec is tell him that you're a Fadernaut, because he's a Fadernaut. So you're going to get the right night vision system for you, and you're also going to get a discount. Bearing Optics, it's the absolute best. All right, Jason, 15 years ago, Parallel Worlds, and does this involve a flash?
Yes, it does.
Oh, man, I want to hear this. Okay, what happened?
So I was observing a scene, and it was a very, very strange scene. It was this very spherical craft. I would say it was maybe the size of a bus. It was a spherical silver metallic sphere. It didn't see any edges or doors or windows. It was just a flying metal sphere in the air. And in front of it and behind it was military helicopters flashing their lights. And it was moving very slowly. And when I mean very slowly, I mean probably as fast as you could ride your bike leisurely. So it's moving very slowly. And on the ground beneath this scene was all these black SUVs and military vehicles. And there was these men, just like in Men in Black. And every time there was people on looking, as they walked by, they let out this big, it was a blue-white flash, and it just totally stunned these people looking at what was going on. And I remember this, and it was just such a weird scene to observe. So I really think that these Men in Black movies with these devices that flash, I think that those are real things that we just don't know about.
What else happened? What did the craft look like?
It was a metallic sphere.
How big?
Silver looking. It had no edges or windows, and it was basically the size of a bus.
Interesting.
And it was just floating, moving very slowly across, like down the street. And you had helicopters escorting it behind and in front of it. And on the ground was the black SUVs and military. And then you had these people they didn't look like men in black. They were wearing like military police, like a kind of SWAT type black uniform with a helmet, and they were walking next to the SUVs, and any of the onlookers that were on the street, they were flashing this bright blue light at them.
It sounds authentic. That's the word I want to use, authentic.
So when I saw that picture, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Do you have any idea where that was?
No idea. It was actually at nighttime.
Right.
And it was very dark around, and I just remember the flashing of the helicopters and the lights on the SUV lighting up the road ahead, and the people coming out on the side of the street onlooking.
The crazy thing, and when I describe this object that I saw as chrome, the reason, and I've said this before, but you have to kind of absorb into your mind's eye how I'm describing this. If you, because as it was moving across, I could see, the reflection of things underneath it, right? Like it was dark on top, but I could see it was so obvious as to what it was. If you take a Christmas ball and you hold it out, or a green chrome or whatever, and you hold it out in front of you and you move it around, you'll see reflections in it. And that's what I was seeing. It was just chrome. It was a chrome ball. It happened to be green. I don't know why. But and there was nothing else to it on the top or the bottom or the sides. I watched it for so long, Jason, that I was looking for smoke, right? Some type of maybe contrail or heat or something. There was none of that. There were no sparks or flames. There were no lights on it. There was nothing blinking. There wasn't any protrusions off of it. You know what I mean? Like wings or fins or nothing. It was just a ball, a solid ball.
That's exactly how you describe it. Would be just like a Christmas ornament.
I don't know. I've said it so many times and I've repeated myself, but that's all that it was, right? There was nothing more to it. And I think that's dramatic enough. And I remember, because I watched it for about 5 minutes, which seemed like a really long time. My arms were getting tired, right, from holding up the night vision and watching it. But I was waiting for myself to go, oh, I know what it is, right? And it never happened. Oh, it's a helicopter. Oh, okay, it's a rocket. Oh, okay, it's a jet line. Oh, okay. That part never happened. It never did, man. I had question marks for 5 straight minutes just flashing in front of me. My heart was racing too as well. Then that's it. I don't know how else to describe it than that.
Yeah. So, I say parallel because when I'm out of my body or I'm observing these things, I have no clue where I actually am. I don't know if it's future. I don't know if it's present. For me, it felt like it was happening at that moment. So I don't know if it was this Earth or it was a parallel timeline that I was jumping to witness this. But I've seen tons of weird stuff just like that.
Are you able to go back and to that moment? I know I've asked you this before. If you could go back and revisit that moment, like this instance with this chrome ball. And I said it again. Are you able to go back to that moment?
Oh yeah, I see it like completely clearly right now.
What about So license plates, the dates of the trucks, what year were they manufactured, these SUVs, to try to get some specifics out of it.
Not at that type of detail. I wish I could. License plates, no. It just looked.
The manufacturer of the SUVs. I mean, would that, maybe help identify what country?
Oh, yeah. They look like those old Suburbans. They're really chunky, in black with blacked out windows.
So not new. They weren't new.
No. Well, they look new at the time that I saw them.
That's what I'm getting at here. Okay, yeah. So this event could have happened in the 70s or 80s?
No. This, from what I was looking at, it looked like it was extremely current, like happening just down the street at that moment in time.
Wow. And what about the uniforms? So those were modern. That's what you would see today?
Oh, yes. They were black, and they wore helmets. So, you'd have, I didn't see any, usually police will have some type of writing on the back of their vest or whatever they're wearing, or even on the front.
Right.
Be it police or FBI. I didn't see anything like that. It was just a clean uniform that was black.
No. Now, do you think that this was American forces?
From my perspective, that's exactly what it looked like, because the cars just looked like the normal, Chevy, SUVs, like the big SUVs, American made.
What about the buildings in the background? Were they homes? Was this suburbia, or was this in a business district?
No, this was, I think it was like suburbia. See, I don't really know too much, but it reminded me of like a desert type of location.
Oh, there you go.
So there was a street, but it was almost like in the background you can see sand. And there was houses there too. So, I don't know Arizona. I haven't been there, but in my mind, I'm thinking possibly something like that.
Now, see, I'm thinking Palmdale, California. Lancaster. Lancaster, the Mojave, where all of the secret stuff outside of Area 51 goes down. But yeah, it's funny. You think Arizona, I'm thinking immediately Palmdale, Lancaster, that area. But again, so let's, when did you had, I want to understand here, you had this vision 15 years ago.
I'm guessing 15 years ago. I just remember,
right.
This is when I lived with my mother, and this was back in, before I met my wife. So this was like a long time ago.
But are you saying that this could have been a vision of the future 15 years ago, seeing today?
Yes.
Now that is interesting. Do you write this stuff down, or do you have the need to do that?
The truth is, I've never written anything down, and the reason I wrote the book Forbidden Knowledge in the first place was I was actually starting to forget all these things.
Right.
Because they're just kind of like dreams, or memories. They do fade over time, and they do overlap. So for me to try to capture and remember these things, sometimes I need to be triggered. Like I saw that picture on Twitter of the Flash. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. So sometimes I need that trigger to access that memory.
Do you think, I want your opinion on this, we have a lot of things that are happening at the same time. I just posted this. I don't know if you listened to what I had said at the opening of the show. But we have things like, we have Tom DeLonge, right, December 16th. We have the X-Files premiering tonight. Pot has been legalized. That's a pretty crazy thing. We have the Nazca mummies with Gaia, and that news breaking. And quantum computing and locality, non-locality, parallel worlds, Mandela effect. All of these things are occurring at the same time, Jason. Is there a reason for that?
I think that there's an old philosophy, and I have trouble saying this, but there may be some pretty traumatic things coming down our way in the future. And because of those traumas, the idea is that it's either be annihilated or evolve. That's the two paths. And right now we're being flooded with information, flooded with consciousness. People are awakening very quickly now. So there's some type of movement going forward. And I was just kind of laughing in the back of my head because, I am kind of twisted, but, maybe they're legalizing marijuana to soften the blow of what's going to come. And I hate to laugh about that, but, all these different scenarios are on the table. And I think that people that remote view or people that have visions or prophecies, it's almost like there's traumatic events that have rippled through time and space, and those that are receptive could experience those ripples coming from the future. And that's what's awakening us and making us evolve our consciousness much faster.
Well, if we've talked about the drip, drip, drip. It's been going on now for 2 years. The drip, drip, drip of disclosure. That's probably, now that is what has happened. Is it to acclimate and soften the blow? Because I think that the way that the average man on the street looked at what happened in the mass media, their reaction was, well, what do you expect? Of course we're not alone in the universe. They've been wanting to say those words for a long time. They may not have said it outright in public, but now I think that's the general answer from everybody. Of course we're not alone, right? So there's that part. But for what may be coming down the pike in 2018, this certainly is a slow pitch.
It is. It is a slow pitch. And, the thing that worries me is that this is coming from the Pentagon. It's coming from intelligence agencies, this disclosure, this drip. And none of these agencies do things off the cuff. This takes planning, maybe even years or decades of careful planning. So did they know something a long time ago that we're going into something in our future and they're going to release information at this drip drip like you're talking about so that when this event occurs, we'll be prepared for it?
Do you think it's a generational thing too as well? We have different generations that need to be dealt with. Different, kids, young kids, 15 and younger. I don't think it's an issue with them in alien presence. I don't think but the further you go back, we have to deal with it differently each generation.
Yeah, I think so. And look at, War of the Worlds back in I think it was the 20s.
1938.
1938, sorry.
Right.
And, why was that done? Was that a thought experiment to see what would happen? But it really did embed in our consciousness at that time the possibility of that occurring. So we've had this for generations, and I would even say Roswell was a drip drip disclosure even back then. So we've had all these amazing things happen, and it's in our subconscious. So if something does happen, let's say like a ship hovers over the White House for, a couple months without moving, we would just say, well, that's obvious. Of course, there's something else out there. It's so obvious. We see it on the TV all the time. It's in all our movies. But then it goes back to this consciousness thing of, well, what's the purpose? Why are they here now? What are they doing? Why are they releasing this information? If it's just technology, I mean, we've had free technology of this sort since Tesla. So, why do we need UFOs to give us this technology if we're already sitting on it for, 80 years?
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. So it has to be something else.
There was one other part in the New York Times article that was pretty telling, and it's not spoken about as much as it should be, and that is the warehouse full of alien artifacts in Las Vegas. That was pretty heavy stuff. If you were to speculate, what do you think is in that warehouse?
I would say that if they have recovered, and there's many people that have come forward claiming that there's been many recoveries of spacecraft or debris, I would say that it would be some type of polymer or metal or some type of alloy that is a combination of elements that we've just never seen before, even thought of producing. And I would think that they have electrical properties, insulating properties, gravitational properties. What if there was a piece of metal that just, you threw it in the air and it would just stay there? We don't know what is capable with the elements. We don't really know. When you really think about it, the modern age that we live in is only about 100 years old. Before that, you couldn't really travel too much. You'd stay in your own city or village. You were surrounded by forest. It was very hard to move around or to communicate. And now suddenly we could travel the world. We can go anywhere. So how did this all happen very, very quickly? And we're still at such an infantile state of technology, even though, we perceive ourselves as being quite advanced. We've only been in this modern age over the last 100 years. Think of where we're going to be 100 years from now. We will not be able to even recognize, unless they just keep saying fossil fuels is the only answer.
Right.
And keep us there. But if we were to act, let's just say if Tesla was allowed to release his technology and information, what would our world look like right now? We would probably be colonizing space right now, publicly.
And the other part that I find fascinating, we're going quickly to, and for good reason, to debris or a piece of a craft or a piece of a crashed craft. But what if it's a device? Right? What if it's a device? Something that was given to us, maybe something that E.T. dropped on accident when he was being chased, or stolen, but a device, something else that we're trying to figure out what it does. Not about the properties, right? Not some exotic element or metallic thing, but what if it's a device? Now we're on to something. You know what I mean? A communication device, a recording device, or just a device. We don't know what it does, but it is not from this earth. A device. Think about that. Now, that would be exciting.
That would be very, very exciting. And you're reminding me of ancient stories of people stealing technology from the gods. And, they would steal things like crystals or things they couldn't understand. And they would be so powerful that if they tried to use them, they'd basically be vaporized.
Right.
They would be like weapons.
Right. The Ark of the Covenant.
Yes. So if they have technology that they're trying to reverse engineer or figure out how this works or its purpose, you could be opening Pandora's box. You could be opening an interdimensional gateway. You could be opening a thing that creates a mini black hole. We have no idea the level of technology that these advanced civilizations have.
Exactly. That's what I'm excited about. And it's just kind of funny to me that kind of got lost in the message. But I think that's going to be some of the exciting stuff that we see in 2018. Speaking of that, we're at the end of the show. I want to thank you for hanging out tonight. And I know that you're on the mend, and you're telling me you're 99% there. I doubt that, but your confidence is apparent. But what are you doing now? Do you have a book coming out? Are you going to be able to get out of the house? Are you going to start traveling and speaking again? What's in the future?
Well, very shortly, I'm actually going to be with you in February.
Oh, that's right.
So we're going to be at the Conscious Life Expo.
I didn't know if you were going to make it, but you are. You're going to be here for the Conscious Life Expo.
You better believe it.
Oh, man. There you go. I cannot wait for that. What are you going to be speaking about?
I'm going to be speaking about consciousness and contacting consciousness. And also, I'm going to be teaching the Egyptian postures, I believe.
Oh, man, the best. Jason, thank you so much. And give my best to Monica. How was your new year?
It was good. It was low key. I think it was like minus 30 here. So you go outside and you can't breathe. It's very cold.
I thought you were going to say, I'm happy to be alive.
We went out. We partied with friends and then came home and relaxed.
I can't believe that happened in November. Yeah. Just absolutely incredible. Jason, thank you so much. And like I said, give our best to Monica, and we'll see you guys in 5 short weeks right here in Los Angeles.
All right. Thank you. And thank you, Rita.
Thank you so much. Jason Quitt, everybody. All you have to do, thecrystalsun.com is Jason's website. If you go over to jimmychurchradio.com, you can click on Jason right there. It'll take you straight over to the Crystal Sun. You can also follow Jason on Twitter at Jason_Quitt. It's right there. And come on out to the Conscious Life Expo, February 9th through the 12th, right here at the LAX Hilton in Southern California, where you can meet Jason, hang out, and listen to his presentations as well as everybody else there. And tomorrow night here on Fade to Black, it is Fader Night. We're going to have John Rappaport here in his No More Fake Newsroom, and I've got a special surprise guest tomorrow night that I can't wait to introduce to everybody. And with that, I am going to get out of here. This is Fade to Black, and Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Kamarian. Show is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2017 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Tomorrow night is Fader Night, but until then, everybody be safe. Go Backley Tappy.